Good morning. It is Saturday, March 11th. I've got my coffee and I am ready to demo one of the underpainting techniques that I use to start a pastel. So I have a few things on my board. I hope you can paint with me. That would be fun. I am using a piece of UArt 280 grit sanded pastel paper. Love UArt, and it's great for this technique because it's a light paper. I also have on my board, I printed out the image that I'm going to be doing. This is actually the color image from a snow a few weeks ago, so pretty gray when we headed out. Sun came out later, but I really like the diagonals in this one, so I thought this would be fun to try. Composition's not perfect, but I'm not really going to talk about that today. I'm really just going to show you the underpainting technique. I took the original photo and I converted it to black and white, 3 shades. So you have white, we have a medium gray, and then a black. And what this does is it helps me with my value mapping, which is what I do with the underpainting. I can't stress enough how important value is in a painting. I think it's something we don't talk enough about. So this technique helps me make sure that I've got the values correct before I start painting. And it also, in pastel gets my darks down quick so that I have a nice base to build on. So working with a dark gray NuPastel. I usually use a dark navy, but not finding it this morning, so we're gonna give it a go with the gray. And then rubbing alcohol. And I only have 70% at home now. The higher percentage, the quicker it dries. So this will work with water, but rubbing alcohol obviously dries quicker so that you can get to your painting faster. So anyways, have that ready. And I have then just some very inexpensive paintbrushes. I don't use my good paintbrushes for this necessarily. So anyways, get going. And I hope Jim got me after the last one I did. I realized it's hard to hear me when I'm talking to my easel, so Jim kindly bought me this wonderful microphone. I hope it helps while I stand and talk to the easel. Unfortunately, he's not here this morning to read comments. He's pretty unavailable right at the moment. So I do have my iPad up and I will try and read the comments on there. But if anybody has any great ideas about how to do this, let me know. Anyways, here we go. So when I do this, you don't want your NuPastel to be too dark on the paper, too thick, because when we go over it with the rubbing alcohol, if it's too thick, it kind of makes a sludgy mud on there. But we do want to be able to distinguish our darks from our midtones. And obviously I will use the paper as the white. So I'm going to continue this all the way off. I really like that diagonal. And then this one over here, I haven't quite decided where that needs to go. We might just, some of these decisions I'm going to have to go ahead and make at some point in time, but maybe not right at the moment. can tell I've already made this in here a little bit too thick. We're gonna have a problem with that, but it's really okay. We'll deal with that when we get to it. And that might not even be overly noticeable until I get to the painting. So in here where I have my midtones, I'm just going to really whisper this pastel onto the paper, and I can add some more darks with some of these lines that are in here. And then again, I'll do the same up here. I can leave here a little bit of room for those lights that are so beautiful. And just really whispering this in. You don't have to add any detail really in here. I just do it because I like to paint. So I can't help it. Most of it, this is all going to be covered up in the painting process. Like I said, this is really just helping me with some value mapping ideas. Getting my darks in where I know I want my darks to be. I have an opportunity to check that the composition is going to be successful and make any adjustments as I paint based on that. This has a couple of branches as well. Get some of those in there. Okay. So this is a pretty decent value map as it is, and we could start to get out our paints and paint on top of this. Let me add just a little bit down here to be able to knock down some of that paper color as we paint. But by adding the rubbing alcohol, what we do is we basically stain the paper and we get this layer back for our pastels, and that's really important in pastel painting. We want as much of the tooth available for pastels as we can get, so adding the rubbing alcohol, blending this in with the rubbing alcohol is staining the paper and it's bringing back the tooth that we need. So let's go ahead and start with that. I just realized I don't have any paper towels here. Let me grab some paper towels quick. Okay. All right. So I like to start with the darks. And I don't mind it dripping. It's not an issue for me. Obviously working on an upright surface with a liquid, so it's going to run. The drips just add some more character to the paper, to the painting itself. guess while I'm doing this, my thought is that I'm just going to show you the underpainting this morning, and then tomorrow during my open studio I will finish painting this. So tomorrow from 11 to 4, if you have time and you want to stop in, I will be working on this painting. And the other thing that I am planning, excuse me, I guess I need some more of that coffee. April 14th and 15th, I am going to be doing a workshop right here in my studio. You can come for one day or both days, but there'll be the workshop will be 2 days from 1 to 4 p.m. And we're going to be focusing on underpainting techniques. I really think that these techniques are huge. They start your painting off in the right direction, help you see where you're going and what you want to do. So that workshop's going to focus on underpaintings. So you can email me at stacy@mayouart.com if you're interested with any questions, and get registered for that workshop if you're interested. So when I converted this image to grayscale and did my 3 values, it turned this back row of trees to black, which we know that it's not. We know that trees in the distance are lighter and duller than things that are closer to us because we're looking through all of the air to see it. It's called atmospheric perspective. But I'm going to go ahead and paint it in pretty dark because with pastel we can lighten it up easily as we get painting. So and I'm sorry that I cannot. I hope that there's not a lot of people out there asking me a ton of questions that I cannot see because I'm facing my easel. Add a little bit of value to this, so that when we come back we can paint a fun screen in there with our edges, or with our gray value. I think learning how to talk and paint at the same time has got to be its own challenge for me. I find it a little difficult. So you can see these branches in here. I'm going to have to figure out, I do believe I want this one to sit on top of this one, and I want this one to go underneath this one. So I'm going to have to work that out. But I have my darks in place, so it will be easier for me to work out as I get painting. I don't know if you guys can see this, but as it's drying, it is kind of lightening up a bit, which is really kind of nice. I still think this back here is too dark. And lift some of that off. And like I said, it doesn't really matter. It is just nice to be able to get this underpainting in, go enjoy a cup of coffee, and come back and see It will tell you if the composition is good composition, if you need to make some adjustments before you start adding a lot of color. And it'll tell you obviously if your values are correct. When you come back and look at it after 15, 20 minutes, you will see the things that are wrong with it much easier. They jump out at you a lot quicker than while you're standing here working on this. So. All right, well, I think I'm gonna let this dry and finish painting it tomorrow, or we'll see if I can stand waiting. Maybe it'll be done by tomorrow when you come to the open studio. So I look forward to seeing you tomorrow if you can make it. Hope that you can jump on and shoot me an email, register for the workshops coming up in April. I'm really excited to try those here in my own studio. It's going to be a great learning curve for me and hopefully for you as well. Well, I know for you as well, because I think every time we get pastels out, we learn. So anyways, it's been fun this morning. I hope this was helpful. I hope you try it. This technique works on, I know I used UArt light paper, but it does work on any paper that can get wet. So make sure that your paper can accept a wet, either water or alcohol before and not fall apart. But anyways, it's a great technique. I suggest you practice with it, play with it, have fun with it. This can get very detailed, or it can be nice and loose like this one. So take care. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will be doing this again on the 25th. Watch Facebook. I'll try and post the reference images along with the paper that I'll be painting on for that. So hopefully then it'll be much easier to paint along with me. Anyways, have a great weekend, and I'll see you again in a couple weeks. Bye.